everyone, it's Dr. D. We're on our very first on location guest room. I'm so excited. And we are now located in the historic downtown district of Stockbridge, Georgia. And guess what we are? We're at the Frozen Smoke Restaurant and Bar. Can't wait to have conversations with our owners. Can't wait for you all to engage in the conversations. I want you all to stay tuned for this guest room with Dr. D. Come on in, let's take a look. We're inside now the Frozen Smoke Restaurant and Bar, and we are with our owners, Warren and Alicia Washington. Can't wait to have these conversations. We're going to talk to Mr. Washington first, not as Warren, and find out where he's from, what he's up to, and how he got started. Hey, Warren.
Hey, how are you today?
I'm okay. Thanks for obliging the guest room. So tell our guests a little bit about Warren.
Well, I'm an old country boy from South Georgia, a little small town southeast of Savannah, Georgia. It's called Walthallville, Georgia. The city seat is Hinesville, Georgia. The county is Liberty County. It's well known for the military base, Fort Stewart, which is the largest military base on this side of the Mississippi.
Okay.
I grew up in a little small country, a family farm where my grandparents, from my great-grandmother to my grandmother, they raised chickens and hogs and goats and everything else, and pretty much grew everything that we ate.
Okay.
And during that particular time, during my upbringing, my mother would always was involved in all the fundraisers for the church. As a matter of fact, the church that I grew up in, which is called St. Thomas AME Church, my great-grandmother actually willed the land for them to build the church there.
Wow.
And the church was in walking distance from our residence.
Okay.
And but during that time, as all churches are, they always have fundraisers. Ours was always the fish fry and all that, and we had cousins that had shrimp boats and fish boats.
Wow.
We would, out of Darien, Georgia, and my mother and I and my siblings and the rest of the family would go down and get anywhere from 100 to 200 pounds of fish.
Wow.
And we would have to come home and clean it and get it ready for the fish fry that my mom would have in the backyard or either in the yard of the church.
Okay.
And so that kind of spent things off as that entrepreneurial spirit. And I had a great-grandmother who was always the one that was selling cookies and candy and everything to the little kids in the neighborhood. So it was always something that was instilled in us in some form of fashion. And my mother used to always tell me about my great-grandfather, who they were out of South Florida. And when they came up here, and he came up here as part of the construction crew that helped build Fort Stewart.
Wow.
In the early 1900s.
Oh.
But during that time, he would always go back home. But because of all the goats that they had, he would always take orders in butchering goats and selling goats to people as part of a supplementary income for the family.
Right.
And so I guess all of that kind of culminated into I guess a thread within the family origins. And then on my father's side, my father had a little juke joint like Harpo's Place.
I'm listening to it, yes.
Down in South Georgia.
Okay.
It was called Act One.
All right.
And during that particular time, it was a popular hangout spot in our hometown.
Okay.
Even though I didn't live with my father, but I was very close with my grandparents and my uncles and aunts on that side of the family.
Okay, good.
And then I would always, when I was in college or living in Savannah during that particular time and married, not to my lovely wife then, but I was still thinking about her.
You got to straighten that out.
But during that particular time, I would always bring my friends and down to my father's juke joint.
Okay.
And he would always be boiling crabs and frying fish on the outside.
All right.
And even frying pork chop on the outside.
Wow.
So it was a lot of those things that was kind of instilled in me. And somewhere down the line, I always had that thing that I wanted to do of opening up my own restaurant because of all the things that we did. I think that was instilled in me from a young child. And also, when I was coming up, one of the things I always did did things for money, from washing cars to cutting grass to doing all those things to even me and a buddy of mine, we would there was a vineyard that was real popular back home. They grew muscadines, the white and and the red muscadines, and we would always sneak in through the back way of there and steal a bunch of muscadines and put them in quart bags and go and sell them.
Okay.
In some of the neighboring towns.
Okay.
So, so I guess that side of me was always instilled in me. And then as I matriculated through life and college and things of that nature, I always had that vision of owning my own restaurant.
Yeah.
And I did some other entrepreneurial things as well. But that kind of got us to this point where there was an opportunity here after all these years had passed, where as moving in Stockbridge with my wife and I and our family, we looked at how things were developing in Stockbridge, and this particular area is very, they just rezoned it for an entertainment district, which is the amphitheaters across the street.
Yeah.
And so it's like buying stock, get in low while you can.
Right.
And then when it's affordable in this area, the real estate wasn't that high, and it was an opportunity that was there. And I was looking at some other areas, but God kept leading me here through various phone calls and whatnot, and then the opportunity presented itself. We took advantage of it, and 2 years later, here we are.
Now this is amazing. I'm listening to how Warren's story has unfolded, and you can see from the roots of his family, both his mom's side and his dad's side and grandmama's, how they instilled in him not only just by the selling part of it, but ethics. You know, you have work ethics and hard work, and how it's transpired here to this point here. Now you've maneuvered through, like you said, through college, and you see all this and the business side of it. Then I hear the sales part of it and how it all unfolded, you know, and then to hear the variations of what your father had as what we call the juke joint, you know, but to see that same vein is going on now as to how you got here. Now it's amazing because this is a historic area, and like you said, the Lord kept leading you back. Real quickly, what was this establishment before it came Frozen Smooth?
It was actually a flower shop. It was a flower
Wow.
shop. And then when we looked at it, we looked at the close proximity and some of the things that used to be on the street and said, wow, this is an opportunity for us to be a part of something, because it had just been rezoned as an entertainment district.
Right.
So with that being said, it allowed us the opportunity to come in, and it was by the grace of God, actually, because the person that we met that owned the building had the same vision that I had.
Wow.
Of this particular area.
Yeah.
And every place else we were looking at, so you need to submit a resume or do a business plan, which I already had a business plan.
Right.
He says, man, I just love the fact that you're focused and you have the same vision that I have. And after that, it's just a matter of execution.
That's amazing that how you converted something into something, you know, and 2 years later, and we offline, he and his wife and I were talking, and I was just saying, how did you guys come about? It's like at the close of COVID, so to speak, here you all are. And then you were saying about some of the grants that weren't afforded to you all, but you all still transferred and just kept going at it.
Right.
And I guess I would say that was out of pocket, basically.
Yeah, a lot of it was out of pocket.
Okay.
And actually, we both were working full time, but because of some things that had transpired, as far as the contractors and all that was concerned, and not being able to be here, and knowing that we had put so much money into it, it put us in a very vulnerable situation where I actually had to leave my job and do this full time,
Right.
and to get it up and running.
Okay.
And so we've done that. We're here now, and after about a year being in, we actually gotten some partners in with us for a small percentage up to the business to help cross some of those financial hurdles. I mean, some of these hurdles are still there, but we're a lot better. We're further than we were a year ago. And even now, as you see, we're continuing to do construction within the building, for some remodeling. Everything has changed gradually for the better, and we have a magnificent customer base. Magnificent customer base where we have generated customers within a 5-mile radius that just come and show up and show out all the time.
Oh, I check you all out now. I'm a TikToker, so I look at you on TikTok, and I see the flow of the traffic, having conversations with Alicia, to hear how the traffic is, and then you have the D9 family coming through, Q specifically coming through. No plug to y'all, but at any given rate, to see the ongoing traffic of customers, and then I look at it, just having conversations with Alicia, you begin to know the regulars. You know, it's almost like Cheers, almost.
Oh,
You know, so
absolutely.
you
Yes,
begin to
yes.
know the regulars, and then that word spreads out. You know, and then to be able to have the partnerships within your county. You know, because I know as a business owner, you're probably part of the chamber, those different ventures. You're talking to elected officials. All of that plays a part, and people need to know that. Starting from something, converting a building, getting contractors out of pocket doing all of this, and then having to leave your full-time job to be fully vested in what your dream is, you know, and then to have your wife on board to say, okay, I'm here with you to support you in this venture, but then to find out, hey, everybody's involved. And then it goes back, Warren and Alicia, back to your roots. It goes back because you're saying how your dad started, how your mom, yeah, we remember them days, get up and get stuff ready for church. And it's like the church has always been the foundation. And I tell people, you get all your gifts and talents from the church. You do. So here it is, you're at this space now where you have a steady customer base, you know. But let me ask you this question, because I'm going to ask it on the tail end to Alicia as well. What would you say that since you've been in this establishment, what has been the most traffic day? I mean, what's the heaviest day? Because you're closed on Monday. But at the same time, what days do you see most traffic? And then out of that, how do you grow from that?
Well, I think we have to go back a little further than
Okay,
what
let's
days
take
we
that.
see, because
Okay.
what happens is you have to, based upon by design, you
Okay.
have to position yourself to serve a particular populace.
Okay, gotcha.
And by design, we were geared and wanted to fashion things, but we also wanted to go after the 50-plus
Gotcha.
crowd. And the reason why, because they're the ones with the most disposable income.
Yeah.
And where we're seated at, we are in an area where there are certain reports that always comes out about how small, what towns or cities in Georgia are more suited for people in that age bracket or the
Wow.
retiring age bracket.
Didn't know that.
And Stockbridge is one of those places that are, because
Okay.
you can see that with a lot of the medical facility that targets particular age groups. You can see that by some of the housing that target particular age groups that are retirees.
Wow.
And when you start looking at that, you want to, these people, like most of us now at our age, don't want to drive too far.
Right.
Just to sit down to be comfortable.
Exactly.
Or just to have a conversation. And it has to be designed where not only do you make them comfortable, but you provide them with something simple, whether it's music or conversation or libation or whatever the case may be. You want to create an environment where they're comfortable in and don't feel threatened. From loud music to all of those things. The police station is right across the street. The amphitheater is right across the street. Medical facilities are right around the corner. So if you create that environment, it's almost like Scripture says, build it and they will come.
Yeah.
And so as we have built it and continue to build it, that particular clientele is favoring us more, and more.
Right.
And that's kind of the direction that we're going in. And when you say what particular days, it depends on what events we have.
Okay.
Because even with the fraternities and sororities that we have, they're not these are the more so grad chapters.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, right.
And the older people within these fraternities that want to come here, and from the that want to come here and have events, office parties, office gatherings, mixers, all of those things. They feel like we have established ourselves as a very comfortable place. We always say that we're a cool restaurant with a cool bar where people come to have cool conversations.
Hey y'all, I want you all to stay tuned for the next part of our conversations here with our owners, Alicia and Warren Washington. And if you've heard how he set the backdrop to where he is now. So you all stay tuned for the next set. Hello everyone, it's Dr. D here. Not only am I an online talk show podcast host, I am an author. As you know, I've written my very first book, Cage in a Cubicle, Spiritual Lessons. But guess what? Your girl wrote another book. It's Time to Own Your Truth, a 31-day motivational. This book came about as of me sitting in a coaching class training. And there it stumbled upon me that I needed to own my truth and who I really am, my authentic self as to who I can really be and what I really am really about as of on a deeper level. And not only did this book come about through a training class, but it also came about through a supervisor who told me in the workplace to be intentional. And so that took me not only in the workplace, but it took me to think about what I needed to do as of what I wanted to do in life. And so therefore this book came about. It's time, Dee, to own your truth. And this is, like I said, a 31-day motivational for anyone, and it's for 31 days to help you along the way that you may feel a little stumbled or a little stuck. This book will get you to where you need to be. So how you can purchase this book? Head over to Amazon and you can purchase the book there. I thank you in advance for your support and more so your purchase. Again, it's Dr. D with her second book, It's Time to Own Your Truth, a 31-day motivational. Thank you. Hey, welcome back. We are now here with our owners once again, Warren and Alicia Washington. And we've heard from Warren and how his foundation has set him to this part now in straight up entrepreneurship and how his business has succeeded in 2 years and going forth. So now we're going to have a conversation with his lovely wife, Alicia. And we're just going to have a conversation with her and her experiences as supporting her husband. Thanks, Alicia.
Thank you, Dee. I'm doing well.
Good. So, you're supporting your husband's dream.
Yes.
And, you've seen the growth, and I'm sure when y'all probably were dating, he was talking about what he did. Just listen to what he's saying. And to now have it at this space. And now you're part of this dream and this vision. So how has the journey been for you?
So I'm going to be honest. When Warren and I were dating, he never told me he wanted to open up a restaurant. Now, I knew he had business ventures and other things that he was a part of, but he never shared with me that he wanted to open up a restaurant. It wasn't until after we were married.
Okay.
So I can tell you how I got involved.
All right, tell us.
Warren originally had a business partner that had an establishment similar to this in Florida.
Oh, wow.
And for some reason, the person had to back out. So he asked me, hey, do you want to go into this business venture with me? And I read the business plan.
I'm sure.
It sounded real good. And I'm like, I was excited. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Warren found the building. Mm-hmm. He was excited about the building. Okay. And then came the money.
She's the money lady, okay?
Yes, the money came.
Okay.
And believe it or not, we both invested our retirements. When I say cleaned out our 401ks, we both cleaned out our 401ks. We refinanced our home. So a lot of this, again, we put our money into it. We did have to get an SBA loan, but believe it or not, it's not for that much what you would think.
Right.
But we put our heart and soul and, again, our money into this establishment. So when the workers are here and when I'm on them, I tell them I want to see a return on investment, so this is why I'm on you like this. I need for you to get it right because we really need to see a return on investment.
And you were saying she spoke on the employees, and I want to talk about that because operating in the restaurant industry, there are different facets. And so you talked about the employees. How has that experience been? Because you are a leader in corporate America,
yes,
and now
it
has transcended over into the restaurant industry. How has that? How does that work? Because now you have to maintain workers to keep the flow of the traffic going, while your husband taking care of the real business of things. So how has that been as of hiring individuals, making sure they're consistent in what they're doing, still meeting the needs of customers? How has that experience been for you?
The restaurant industry is totally different.
Okay.
I will say that my skills are transferable. You're right. I do work in leadership in corporate, but my skills are transferable. Plus, I went to school. I have a bachelor's degree in management, and I have a master's in leadership. So again, everything that I learned, I am able to transfer those skills here.
Right.
I share with people we do have a revolving door of servers, bartenders, and cooks because for some reason it's just hard to keep workers. It's just hard to get faithful, dependable workers. We have a good staff right now, and I'm praying we keep this good staff. But I
can imagine, because this is the restaurant industry, and it you know, it happens. I've been doing some research on that part, and just to know how you all still keep a steady ship though. But I want to get back to the part where you and your husband sacrificed your savings, your retirement,
Yes.
to build this dream to what it is now. And then you all actually seen a return on investment, 2 years and still going. You know, then you
Yes.
say you make repairs, you're renovating, you're doing more. So I think that speaks for itself. So as husband and wife, how have you all been able to balance the restaurant? And I heard too, the church, as well as
Yes.
family. How do you all balance that? Because people want to know, you know, they just think it's willy-dilly, you know, get a restaurant and it's like this and everything, cash flow just coming in.
No.
And their family is like, okay, we got them under control. But how do you do that? How do you all do that as a couple?
Can I start?
Sure.
Okay. It's hard. So I get asked that question a lot. How do you work a full-time job and you in leadership, because the demands are there, especially when you're in leadership and you
Right.
have like 17 or 18 direct reports.
Right.
The church, because we're both ministers, we
Right.
both teach Sunday school, we both speak. Now we're raising a granddaughter. We've had her since she was 5 months old, and now she is 4 years old.
Wow.
We've actually had other grandchildren to come stay with us. They actually work in the establishment to help us out. I give all glory to God.
Okay.
I tell everybody it's not me, it's all Him, because I pray for strength each and every day. I pray for wisdom. And when I know we have events and I know I have to get the grandbaby situated, I have to go into prayer and I say, God, you know what I have before
Right.
me today. You know I have to go to work. You know what I'm dealing with at work. And I say, and I need you right now. I need for you to give me this day my daily bread. I need you right now in order to push through. And when I tell you He has never failed me, it's been 2 years. He has not failed me, and He will not fail me.
That's awesome. Just to hear the balance of that and how you all are working together in that space, and then raising a grandbaby, you know, doing it all over, you know, because the birdie told me at one point, you're like, I'm gonna wait till my children get of age and then I'm gonna do my thing. And then here it comes back full circle. You're raising a
Yes,
grandbaby.
yes.
So let's switch gears here. Our producer's giving me a cue here. Let's switch gears and talk about the restaurant in itself. Now, I have been on TikTok and watching. I've read the reviews and everybody's talking about these famous wings that y'all have. And then I saw the sweet potato fries with the honey on it. You know, I'm a potato chick, so I'm just like, so tell us, what has been that? Is that the famous part of y'all? That's what y'all know for the wings here?
Yes.
Okay,
the
tell us
smoked
about,
wings.
yeah, tell us about these
Yes.
smoked wings.
I tell everyone that when they first visit the establishment, I tell them what our top sellers are,
Okay.
and I let them know the smoked wings is a top seller, as well as the sweet potato fries. You can get them plain, or you can get them with butter and brown sugar.
Okay,
We don't
butter,
put it on
okay.
the side.
Okay,
We don't
alright.
put it on the side. It has to go on there right out the grease.
Okay.
So it can kind of like, you know, melt, caramelize, or
Right.
whatever. But actually, Warren has the recipe for the smoked wings.
So, Warren, how did the smoked wings come about? Because I know we don't want to share the Colonel's secret, but how did the wings come about?
Actually, not only did one part I left out is that I also cooked in the military, and I cooked at home.
okay.
And I started cooking when I was very, very young because of how I grew up, and even from the age of, I started cooking. I was cooking a full meal by the time I was 9 years old.
Wow.
Just because of how we were raised.
Yeah.
And that's how he got me, by cooking.
By
Okay,
cooking.
go ahead, honey.
Yes.
And so, with that being said, we also wanted to create. If you're going to do something, you gotta create something that's a unique flavor only
Right.
to you. And I knew I had some, and even at home. And what I would always do, if I made something, I'd write down the ingredients and write down
Wow.
everything. And we had a very good habit of anything that came into our house was already prepared. I was good at prepping meals.
Okay.
From the vegetables to the meats and everything. I'll label it, put the date on it, put the ingredients that was in it, and my wife, only thing she had to do, what our grandkids had to do, they just take it out of the freezer, put it in the air fryer, put it on the grill,
Yep.
put it in the oven.
Wow.
put it in the wok, whatever the case may be. So I was always a real organized cooker.
I hear that military kicking in. I hear that.
Well, actually,
And then discipline from the roots. Yeah.
And so with that, with just knowing just having those skill sets,
Right.
that it was real easy for me to transfer that into the restaurant business, because at that point it brought about consistency. Because no matter how, if you just do it the same way all the time, it'll always turn out the same way all the time.
Wow.
And then one of the things they did love was the consistency. It's not just that. Like I said, our salmon has a unique flavor to it,
Okay.
because these are recipes.
I did read that review. I read that review. They said they liked the salmon,
Yeah.
but it kept going back to the chicken wings.
Oh,
and I was like, every time I read a review, it's like, okay. Then they go
Right.
back to it. I was like, okay. And it was like, Google does take you back there to see that. And I'm like, that's
Our
a
turkey
high,
burgers,
yeah.
Our turkey burgers are really,
Right,
really
okay.
hot seller as well. We do a lot of to-go orders,
Oh, really?
Uber Eats and
Okay.
DoorDash orders for those particular items. Matter of fact, now we even sell them in bigger volumes. 'Cause
Wow.
we sell them in 30 and 40 pieces now, and
Wow.
so that becomes
Y'all hear that? They got it going on here. I mean, just to hear how the foundation has been set here, and then to hear, the real talk of challenges that has incurred with that, putting their own home, just taking their investments and then putting it into another investment, and then seeing the return on that, and then raising a family, and then being able to say, I'm going back to my roots. And here it is. They have famous entrees here that people are just thriving on. I've seen it on TikTok. I've seen what the traffic is. They have entertainment here, and that everybody wants to see. So I want you all just to close and just give our audience and those who are interested in this industry, what piece of advice would you give those who are interested in doing what you all are doing? What piece of
Faith.
advice? Faith. Faith.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
faith.
faith. It's not for the faint of heart.
It's
Okay.
not. It's
All right.
not. A lot of sacrificing.
And I always say this, that if you understand God's plan, and knowing that God didn't choose no chumps,
Right.
because everybody He chose was warriors and willing to make sacrifices that other folk won't make. And I always remember this, always that famous saying: to get what you've never had, you got to do what you've never done.
Right.
So it's just a matter of just putting your head down, grinding, and have a thick skin and short-term memory.
I like that word. That's helping me. Thick skin, short-term memory, also focus. And you said faith, and I hear also consistency too. If you want it bad enough, you're going to be consistent to do it. And also, like Alicia and I have conversations, and she said, Dee, sometimes you just have to put on the blinders. That's her word.
Yeah.
Put the blinders on and just really stay focused as of what you want to accomplish. And you're so right. I think we get those foundations. Like my dad always shared, you can't do nothing sitting down. If you want it, you got to get up and you got to work for it to get it. So you all talked about that, and you said sometimes that can be a struggle, having that faith, because our faith sometimes
It wavers.
it wavers, and it's just like, and you sometimes like, another person call out, and you're like, oh my gosh, and so I'm being able to juggle all that. So you all hear how it's talking about faith and consistency and just being focused as of what you have to do to get this business going. This is no joke. This is real talk, and I'm so excited that Mr. Warren, finally, I get to hear him talk. Mr. Warren and his wife, Alicia Washington, have agreed to be with us here on the guest room in their establishment, Frozen Smoke Restaurant Bar. Check us out, and I'm going to have them also tell them, tell us where you all are located. Tell them real quick.
All right, we are located at 118 MLK Senior Heritage Trail in the historic downtown district of Stockbridge, Georgia, right across the street from City Hall and the amphitheater.
All right, you hear it. Concerts are coming up. Come check them out for something to eat. Talk soon. Hello, everyone. It's Dr. D here. Want to let you in on something. Not only am I an online talk show podcast host, I am also an author. Yes, I am an author of my very first book, Cage in a Cubicle: Spiritual Lessons. This book talks about my journey in corporate America, as well as learning the lessons along the way. Sometimes you think that being caged in a cubicle is a bad thing, but it's actually protection. And so along the way, I wrote out my lessons in a journal, and it evolved into a dissertation when I was in school, yes, but it also evolved even more so in me writing this book. So I share with you my journey as I sat in a cage in a cubicle, spiritual lessons that came along with that. And I want you all to be able to share the experiences that I went through, and perhaps you may have gone through it, or perhaps you're going through it, but it will be some spiritual lessons that you all can learn from as well. How you can purchase this book? Head over to Amazon and you can purchase the book there. Again, I thank you in advance for your support and your purchase from your girl, Dr. D, with Cage in a Cubicle Spiritual Lessons.